The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hello, and help me welcome our candidate for Alderman in Ward 4, Peter Lajoie.
Hi,
Peter,
how are you?
How do you do today?
Doing great.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
I'm excited to have fall weather.
Yeah, it's a little bit different, but
Yep.
Is it good for your campaign? How did you decide to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you decided you wanted to run for an office here in Nashua?
Yeah, I'd love to. So I'm just kind of a normal guy. I don't like to get involved in, like, I was raised, you don't, like, pleasant company, you don't talk about religion or politics. You just go to work, live your life, raise your family, that's it. So I have a wife and two small children.
Oh.
And, I was just going along. And last year, my wife emailed the alderman of Ward 4, Tom Lopez, asking a question about what the criteria would be for when mask mandates would be rescinded. And his response was pretty displeasing. Like, it was rude, to be frank. He was rude to my wife via email. And then that got me fired up. I mean, don't be mean to my wife. Get out of here. That was my response. So, like, I had not been, local politics was not on my radar.
Yeah.
And then that guy made it on my radar, for whatever, I mean, you want to take that for what it is. If it's petty, I don't care, whatever. That's my...
Well, no, they're supposed to be transparent and friendly.
Yeah, and he was not. So, but at that moment, I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to run against him. Like, that wasn't my plan, but it just got local politics on my radar. It's like, oh, wow, like, this really matters. Like, this really affects all. And then their handling of the COVID pandemic was really, really aggressive. Like, threatening, if you don't wear a mask, like, fines and what. Like, I mean, what I think they should have, what I liked, what I saw, like, in the culture was, before the pandemic, if you wear a mask in a place of business, you get thrown out, right? But what I would have liked to have seen is, like, an acceptance of masking, distancing, hand washing, a heightened sense of cleanliness that we probably already should have had. And then you let businesses and individuals make their own decisions about how they want to relate to each other, right? But their response was to rule top down, be very controlling. And that's deeply offensive to me. I believe in the government's job is to preserve and to promote and preserve individual liberty, and make city a good place to do business, make people feel safe and proud, and safety in an empowered sense, not in a cowering, fearful sense. And they certainly took in my opinion, the latter track there. So those are the two main things that got me involved, interested. But then, really, where the rubber met the road was I was asked by people who noticed that Tom Lopez was about to run unopposed. There was about a week left before the deadline, and someone emailed my wife about it, actually, and she and I spoke about it, and I considered it very seriously, and I realized, well, I want to live a meaningful life and give a meaningful contribution to my community, and here's an opportunity. And if at the very least give someone an alternate choice. If you just want not the guy that's in there now, you should have that option. And a write-in doesn't count. Like, you can't just So I felt it was my duty to step in there, and that's how I got where I am now.
And your job at the alderman is going to be interesting when you get in, because right now they don't debate very much. Okay, because they're all one party and they follow the leader, more or less. I think there's some problems with the transparency of how the town is run. I think we need to know more about what they're doing. I think you're interested in, you got two young kids that are going to be going to school, and there's a big problem with the schools right now, and they're looking at getting another new school, which is going to add to our tax rate, and they're going over all the they weren't running the reevaluation of the homes, which is also going to affect your tax rate. So what do you think about some of the issues, or are the two things that I mentioned high in your interest rate, or do you have other areas that you want to talk about?
Well, the first one you mentioned was transparency.
Right.
And when you're a public servant or a servant of any kind, higher the communication, the better. So like what I experienced was unwillingness to, in the case of my wife, he was offended that we were even inquiring into that sort of thing. And his response was, go watch the meetings online. And the meetings are hard to get through. And if you're in communication with someone over email, you can explain yourself, right? I mean, that's kind of what it's for. Like so that's very important to me, just being available. And with technology now, it's easy. You just, so he responded. It's not like he didn't respond, but it was not
in a very pleasant way.
Right. So, and it doesn't, there's no reason to be unpleasant with that. But with the schools, I mean, I don't know as much about that. So my kids are so young, I'm not involved in the school side of it yet. I mean, I guess, but if you ask me about kind of my philosophy about public education or things like that, I mean, I can talk about that. My father's a teacher at Bishop Girton High School, which is private, but my wife's family, many of them are teachers in Massachusetts public schools. Like my son's birth was paid for by a health plan from my wife's father for Boston Public Schools. So like I am pro public education, and I think that as much support as we can give to teachers in public education, the better. I mean, I don't know the specifics, but that's my general philosophy on that.
So you're going around and knocking on doors yet, or?
I did some door knocking when I was collecting petitions. And I mean, well, this is the other thing. It's like I have a full-time job, and I got 2 little kids, and I don't know what I'm doing. So sadly, I haven't been able to get out really much yet, which is part of the reason why I'm here. Like, I thank you for the opportunity to come and talk to you. I really appreciate that. But I look forward to doing quite a bit of door knocking this month, especially as we get closer.
Well, that's the hardest part, to get out there and see all the people. Right. And it's really good both to you and to the people who, especially people who haven't seen a candidate before. Yeah.
Making that personal connection is so. I sell cars, so part of what I do all day is just walk up to people and talk to them, but respectfully, of course. But so that side of it is the value in that is huge. That's right. Like I really believe in the face-to-face connection there. Like for instance, now you can buy a car online, no problem. But I think that it's better to have a face-to-face connection with a person. And as a candidate, I really look forward to meeting more of the people in the ward. I have had an opportunity to speak with several people in person, and those conversations have been fantastic, just so enlightening, hearing people's real personal wants and desires from the city. And it's not like abstract, like ideological things. It's like they put a dog training kennel in what should be a residential zone, and now it's like really noisy all the time, and like I wish that they didn't do that. Like I spoke with one gentleman, it's like that's real, like that's real, like elbows deep kind of politics. And I look forward, if the voters give me the opportunity, I look forward to helping out in that situation. But that starts with the door knocking, right?
You have to do that. You have to get out. That's one reason we're running these kind of programs, because it's very hard, especially on local. The newspapers don't really eat up anything. Right. Maybe you write a couple letters to the editor, and sometimes they get out. But we'd like to see that as many candidates use this free service as it is. I mean, it's really the people who are a cable supplier has to do this as part of his contract. And so people should look at it from the public access channel 96, or they should at least look at, we do it on YouTube also. So that's out to get into social media nowadays. I mean, everybody uses social media, and you can put your copy of this interview on that. That's one way to get out. I used to put it on my handouts that if you wanted to find out anything more about me, go to this channel. And because you can put a little bit more information down, people can read it and think about it. And if you give them a phone number, they might call you and say, I see you're doing this about that, and I'd like to encourage you to do that, or something like that.
Yeah.
But you do set up a communication system.
Right.
And that's more than we need, instead of arguments and nasty letters in the editor and all
Right.
that.
Yeah, people forget we're all on the same team.
Yeah, yeah.
But this is a republic. Right? Like, it's not some monarch versus the people. So we're all the people.
That's right.
So there's no necessity to have conflict in the sense of us versus them mentality. There's no reason to have that. Like, we can all work together to find solutions, and then you can disagree on the solutions, but to have the attitude that some people have, that what I'm doing is good for you, I'm the beneficent leader that's going to come down and show you the way, and whether you like it or not. Like that's
some of that. Look, it is what we see nowadays.
Yeah, it seems that way, and that's worse than like being aggressive or like rude, because it denies the citizen the right to have a hearing. That my way or the highway mentality. It leaves you, as a citizen, it leaves you feeling like, well, what am I supposed to do? How am I not worth anything? Am I just being pushed around, and I'm going to be told what the right thing is, and that's that? Like, that's what we fought and we continue to fight for as a country. That's what
that's right.
So it's that.
And there's too many things that even reading about them in the paper, or what I've been hearing from some of the other people that I've been interviewing these last several weeks, the incidences that the administration has in our town hall, where they're not very receptive to people asking questions, taking several weeks to get answers back about something on somebody's house evaluation. Or just other questions about what do we owe? How much money are we borrowing for all these things that we're doing? And they're not getting any answers. They're getting avoided. Then some people were arrested because they just didn't want to go until they got an answer from somebody. You remember that?
Or something. I heard something about
a couple weeks ago. And, that's not the way to operate. I mean, you're service to the people, and you should be receptive to that, and be, honest. I don't, and try to reflect that in your attitude to treatment.
Right. Well, I mean, if your starting point as an elected official is that the people who disagree with me are just being difficult and intransigent, and they don't actually deserve to be treated with respect. If that's your starting point, where are you going to go? Yeah, you're not going to feel like you need to communicate with them. You're not going to feel like they deserve answers. You're going to see what they do as disruptive and useless.
Yeah.
So if your starting point is, oh, this person wants to know this fact, here it is. It takes, obviously we're human beings, and it takes time to like pull information together and send emails, but the mentality of certain groups of people in politics towards those that disagree with them is that they don't deserve to be considered serious, which is that's a non-starter. Like that we've already lost if that's as a people, if that's the mentality.
And they don't seem to realize that. They've had other incidences where some of the lower scale workers were very helpful getting information out and everything like that. They were fired. And they actually sued, and the city had to pay because of inappropriate
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's whack. That is just out of control, man.
So,
Jeez.
Anyway,
What are you gonna beat up on like a secretary for?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Like, I went to, when I put in my petitions, there was this really nice girl who took them, and like I imagine like there was people like that, right?
Yeah.
Like at a desk.
There was a clerk.
Why are you gonna beat up on someone like that for doing their job? That's crazy. You got to look in the mirror, man.
Well,
that's weird. Like, that's like, I don't know like what's going on behind the scenes, but that's the kind of behavior that you start doing if like you got something to hide, you know. Like that's bizarre. Like, and I don't know. Like,
no, but listen to some of the other candidates, because they have spent time looking at these things in depth, and they have the answers. They have the information now. But you know, you're going around talking to the people. Do you have anybody helping you? You need some people to call you and say, hey, you need somebody to help you give out literature or something?
I will.
Okay.
I have a contact at a printing company where I'm going to be getting stuff printed out, and once that's done, I'll be able to affect a.
So people should contact you on your
yeah, if you go to the Facebook page, it's at Peter Lajoie Social is what it's called, but the title's Peter Lajoie Alderman.
Okay.
If you go on there, there's a link to message me with Facebook Messenger. There's a link to the Gmail account you can email me at. So if you have questions or want to insult me or something, you can do that.
Okay. Maybe they can ask you questions.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And, if you have questions, I mean, because like I said, I mean, I first and foremost now, and especially if I'm elected, I'm gonna where it starts is finding out what's needed and wanted. Right. That's number one. After finding lines of communication in City Hall and figuring out how things actually function. You know, I really a neophyte. Like is an understatement, but if that's what Nashua wants, then that's what Nashua would vote for. You know, maybe someone who isn't so experienced should be in there. But yeah, I mean, the Facebook page would be great. Whatever you want to send me, like I'm happy to engage with it.
I hope people call you. We need people to get involved, and you know, it's a lot of expense and time and money for people like you to run for these offices. I mean, it's not a full-time job, supposedly, but it winds up being almost a full-time job.
Right.
Because you're always going to be receptive to your clients, the people who vote.
Yep.
And they deserve to have somebody who's interested and really feels that it's a calling. That, you know, hey, I see things screwed up. They shouldn't be run that way. Let's see if we can make a change.
Yeah. I mean, it's a duty. I mean, at some point you have to try to affect good change where you live. Yeah.
And you'll find different areas, different groups that have meetings periodically to keep everybody abreast of what's happening. So you'll see that as being helpful. The Nashua Taxpayers Association is something that you might want to see if they want to listen to you. There's other civil groups too that are, well, that is a taxpayer group for the state too, but local groups, the aldermen usually go to a meeting of the Chamber of Commerce. They have a meeting for that to let you know what their interest is in the city. And you get to meet people who can be great friends and very helpful later on because they've been around long. This is new for you. You got a lot of learning to do.
I know. That's not lost on me.
But you're interested, and that's the main thing.
Right. Well, I think what I want to be, and even as I say, you know, what I have an opportunity to be is a focal point for those interests. Is for people to see, express what they need, and to have someone who actually cares enough to hear them out and to enact that.
Well, your present job is really sets you up for communication, that's for sure. Yeah. And your experiences in education came, you said you worked in groups while you were in high school, was it?
Well, yeah, I mean, in high school, I did a lot of performing arts, and then I in college I studied video production a little bit before I went to school at Thomas More College in Merrimack for classical liberal arts. But yeah, so I think I'm pretty well set up with this sort of ability to, well, for instance, I mean, like I take texts and emails from customers at all hours. You know, if we're trying to make a deal happen, you know, then the communication level has to be up here. You know, so that's something I commit to.
And keep tight communication so you don't lose them to say your competitor who's just a wee bit better.
Exactly. I mean, and frankly, yeah, that's a big part of it. And then a customer of mine or a citizen deserves to feel like they're being heard.
Right.
They deserve to feel like that whatever the issue is, that there's someone who at least acknowledges it. And that I can certainly do that. And if elected, I'd be in a position to really do something about it. So I can only hope. I mean, obviously it depends on the makeup of the board as a whole and sort of the mayor and everything. And I mean, I feel like I'm talking smack about the people in power now. Like, maybe I'm being a little cheeky about it, but in all honesty, like if I was, say, like I was the only seat that got flipped, and it was like I was the one new guy or something, I'm totally happy to work with anybody. Yeah. Like, and I'm not an ideologue. I'm not super hard line. I just want to help get good things done. Okay. And serve. So I would want anyone currently in the city hall to know that, like, I'm not an enemy. I'm just a guy who's trying to do a good thing, and that's if that's a problem, then there are other problems. You know what I mean? Well, it might be difficult. It depends on how many equal people get elected. I mean, people from that take the same approach that you do. You want to get something done. You believe in certain right things and certain wrong things, but let's compromise if necessary, and let's get it done. Right. That's what they want to know. And so the communication is the hardest part, though, to get out there to all the people. Right. You can use literature that works to a certain extent, but getting out and meeting them like you do in the car business, you got to get whether they like it or not. Well, you go up to strangers there, and you know, it's totally natural to not want to talk to a stranger, right? So no, that's if they're trying to sell you something, you know. That's what the big. And you have to be able to listen to people who want to start an argument, but you don't. You want to communicate with them. You don't want to argue with them. Yeah, I mean that's someone coming in hot like that in an argument. A lot of times that's just a result of not having been heard in the past. Right. And it's like a sort of pent up frustration. So it's hard to do, but it's really, really important to hear someone out, even if they're in that state. And that's something that I definitely have to, because car salesmen are bad to people. That happens all the time. I mean, it's basically like a cliche at this point. You know? I'm sitting here right now. I'm a used car salesman and new, but a car salesman and a politician at the same time. I'm basically the scum of the earth. But people come and they've had really bad experiences. They've been cheated or hurt or lied to, or just bad sort of communication, and they bring that with them to their interaction with me. And it's really important for me to not blow up on them for doing that, because, I didn't do anything to you. But really, like, you just got to take it in and let them know it's okay, and that we're here to work together and get something done. Even if I don't sell you a car today, then that's what we're going to have a good time. It's going to be fine. And it's the same thing in politics, I think. Like, what do I know? But and you follow up, which is something that the politicians don't always do. That's right. At least the car salesman follows up. Politicians don't. That's really funny. I just got the thing. Yeah, that's important, though. Yeah. People feel that you would listen. You are listening to them. Yeah. And you came back either with an answer, or you came back with a concern that you
wanted to make sure they felt that you had been giving them the right answer for them. And we need more people like that, really. And you'll have some people that want to tell you their life story while they're getting around to the problem that they want you to solve. But I'm sure you have ways of getting around to that too, because you focus on making a sale. Well, as a politician, you're making a sale and getting to know what they want and how you think you can help them.
Right. And I mean, making a sale is a two-way thing. You know, like a good sale is two people winning. Right. And that's how it is with just about everything in life, I think. Is that if you have two people who are trying to get something done, then you got to go back and forth and you got to figure it out.
And that's something that you may be able to help on the side, you know, if you find out that the person has some other problem that, oh, I know who to talk to, you know, about that.
Right.
And we'll get together for you so you can help explain your situation and maybe they can help you solve it. I can't right now, but, you know, you do those things because you know all the ins and outs of closing a sale. Well, and that's what you got to look at it. But it's a different, maybe a little slightly different focus. Yeah. But that's the job.
Right. We're talking about the virtues of a car salesman. I don't know if this is going to go over well. But,
no. But you do have that complication to get over. But I'm sure you will. Yeah. I'm sure you will.
I hope so. And I hope that like I said, at the very least, I hope that I can be a solid option for people.
Good. Any further things? We're run out of time.
Vote no on the police commissioner thing.
Okay.
Please. We didn't talk about that, but if anyone looks into it, they'll see that it's a bunch of malarkey. So just vote no.
Right. I agree with you there.
Yep.
And thank you very much for your time.
This is good. This is really good.
Yeah, good. We'll do it again maybe closer to election day.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be very good.
Okay, we'll see what we can do.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.